Also, slant your camera down a little bit so like there's a lot of space above your head. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to save it, and we're just going to do a little programming exercise. I'll share my screen, so hopefully you can see it. Okay. Yeah. All right, we are live. Okay, so let us get situated here. But what we are working on tonight is Google NLU, voice translation, Wavenet, and a number of other cool capabilities. So what I'm going to do is, Ming, if you can just ping yourself, or mute yourself when you're not talking, that would be helpful. Perfect, thank you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open a terminal here. So let me just get my spaces situated. And I'll go ahead and share my screen, Ming, so you can see what's going on. Let me just double check. All right, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and share. Okay, Ming, can you see my screen? I think you're muted. Perfect, thank you. All right, so we're going to boot open a terminal here and get our workspace situated. So we like to use the native Apple terminal for most of our work here. So let's navigate over to the directory we're going to be using tonight. So this should be CLI. Let me just take a quick look real quick. Just give me 1 second while I find this file. I believe I know where it is. Desktop. All right, yeah, it's going to be in desktop under Wavenet demo. So let's go back. All right, hopefully folks can see my screen a little bit. I know cascading windows, always fun. All right, so we're going to navigate over to desktop, and there should be a folder called Wavenet. Wavenet CLI, something along those lines. Why is that hard to find right now? Wavenet-demo, of course. All right, cool. So this is going to be our directory that has our all of our requisite files and packages in order to run this script. And we're going to go ahead and pop this open in Visual Studio Code, because Microsoft can do things right on occasion. I'm actually pretty impressed with a lot of the acquisitions they've made. There used to be a to-do list application called Wunderlist that I was a big fan of, and they scooped that up and rebranded it as To Do. They picked up GitHub, they picked up Hockey app, so pretty impressed with their strategic acquisitions as of late. Of course, this opened several more windows than I intended, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete these, and we can stick with one. Less is more sometimes. Sometimes more is more. Actually, usually more is more. That's why it's called more. But on occasion. All right, let's see if we can't get this guy out of here. Really putting my computer to task tonight. Let's see if it doesn't crumble before us all. All right, so there is a file in here called cli.js. And before I go through this file, I'll step through it, I'll explain it, we'll run it, do some examples here. But before I do that, let me make sure everything is chugging along. It looks like it is. Okay. All right, so let us run some code. Ming, can you see this code here? You can? All right, let me expand it a little bit for you. I think you're on mute, by the way, if you're talking. Okay, I can hear you now. Can you see this code? Is it big enough? All right, cool. So what this does is, this is Node.js code, and it interfaces with two different packages, Google Translate and Google Text-to-Speech. So both of these are using underlying machine learning models. So when we say AI, we're not just pumping buzzwords. Truly is using deep learning. And it's using deep learning on two different fronts. One is to take the characters, the alphabetical characters that we supply, and to translate phrases such as, hello or how are you doing, from one language to another. That is one application of AI here. The second is to actually orate those words in native tongue. So to take the text HELLO and to speak it in English, to say hello, you can do that. You can do that using like strict programming, but what Google has come up with is a generative model called Wavenet that is based on, hours of dictation that it's used to train on. And generative models in this context just means that it's creating new information. So it's going to take all the voice that it was trained on, and it's going to take the new text, the new combination of words, and try to generate an estimation. Like, what would this sound like if a human were to say it? And the beauty of this is, because it's deep learning based, you end up with a result that is more compelling than anything that could have been programmed by hand. And basically, there are benchmarks that are used to determine how lifelike synthetic voices sound, and the Wavenet basically reigns supreme in those contests. So it is the most lifelike synthetic voice vocoder available. So anyways, we got those two different APIs at play here, and what we're going to do is we're going to provide text, and then this program is going to immediately send it to Wavenet and then immediately play the files that come back from Wavenet. So we end up with this real-time transcription capability. So let me go ahead and show you that first. So I'm going to pop open a terminal so that we can execute this file here, and we can do that all right in VS Code. So if I do ls, it'll just list out my files, and then what I'll do is I'm going to try and take a shot across the bow here and just execute this first file using Node and just passing the file as one of the arguments. I'm not convinced this is going to work because service accounts, and we don't have any. But it looks like it, well, actually, let's not get our hopes up. So I'm going to go ahead and type a word that we want to be projected here. So I'm going to do hello. Yeah, okay, so we need a service account. So it needs to, so we're calling these cloud services here, but the backend doesn't know who we are, and it's going to reject our call. So we're going to pass a service account, and I have a little trick for that. So let me go and dig that up. So let's see real quick. All right, so one of the things that I like to do is to run this dual command, which both defines a service account within the context of this Node.js file that we're going to execute. And this service account should have the permissions and roles needed to interface with these APIs, hopefully. Famous last words. So if we give that a shot, then I think it will authenticate us and therefore execute our code. So, and again, all this is doing is it's defining an environmental variable that references an absolute path to a service account, just a JSON service account, and then immediately executes the file. So let's actually give that a shot and see if that doesn't help us out here. All right, so far so good. Let's throw in a little word here. We're going to do hello. And getting another error. Let's double check this. Promise rejection inside async. Yeah, but what was the real error? Originated by throwing in async, unhandled promise. I do see the word auth. Oh, no such file or directory. Video intelligence -sa. So it's claiming that that file does not exist, which we shall put to the test. What did we call it? Video intelligence SA? Come on, where are you? Come on, alphabetical sort. Don't fail me now. All right, video intelligence. Okay, so guilty. There is no file of that name. It's videointelligence.json, not videointelligence-sa. So, all right, back to our command line. Let us trim this and try again. Come on, this should work. Let's see. All right, let's put in if at first you don't succeed, ... Let us see. Request had invalid authentication. So different error this time. It did not take issue with the path. It took issue with the privilege level of the service account. So if we have to, we'll spin up a new service account, but I really don't want to. So I'm going to try this other guy here. gcloud demo 123. gcloud demo 123. Let's give that a shot. gcloud demo 123. And then let's do third time's a charm. 1, 2, 3. No. All right. What is the issue now? Invalid authentication credentials. Expected to access token. All right. So let's do one more fast try here. So gcloud demo tutorial. I'm just going to give that a shot. If that doesn't work, we're going to spin up a new service account. See, these all have like varying privilege levels, so it's not clear to me that they will have access to the resources that we need. So let's try it again. Here we go once more.
Here we go once more.
Here we go once more. It worked. Wow. Who would have thought getting a service account to work would be half the battle? And yet here we are. Okay, so again, what are we doing tonight? We are working with a command line utility that I set up that allows you to type any words or phrases and immediately have those played back by the Wavenet synthetic voice vocoder. And on top of that, we're going to layer in translations, because why not? So let's do a couple other phrases here. So I'm just going to do a couple others.
Hello.
All right, cool. So they are coming through. And for those who are a little bit curious and maybe want to dive a little deeper, this script will define a number of different attributes that allow you to kind of tweak the voice result that comes out. So like, for instance, you could reference a different Wavenet model. You could specify a target gender. You can change the pitch or the speaking rate. And one thing that's really cool about this, and I'll throw the GitHub repo in the description, but one thing that's sweet about this is you can literally take a PDF file or a text file and turn it into an audiobook. And it'll just create like a sequence of MP3 files. So there have been some like white papers that I thought were brilliant that I wanted to listen to while I was jogging. Excuse me. And I just used this tool to turn those into audio files. And they're not like annoying, like fake robotic audio. Like they sound really like human-like. It's pretty sweet. All right, let's do a couple more here. So, I don't know. I'll just do let's do my name is Tim, and tonight we are programming an AI to transcribe English text and read it back to us. We are doing this because we are lazy and very, very bored.
My name is Tim, and tonight we are programming an AI to transcribe English text and read it back to us. We are doing this because we are lazy and very, very bored.
Yes, we are. That we are. I agree with you there. Sentient being. Okay, cool. So we're successfully taking text, like any text that we want, and we're turning it into audio in real time. So like, imagine I was on like a chat with someone, or I don't know, like a video call or something. I could talk with them without actually talking, because this is fast enough. Like, this is low latency. You know, they could ask me a question, like I'll do this with you, Ming. Like, you ask me a question or type a question in the chat, and then I can answer using voice. Don't embarrass me, please. Although that's hard not to do. Do I have something to do?
Yes, or assisting me as a loyal moral supporter.
See, I even messed up that sentence, but the point is, you could really have a conversation with someone. I mean, there'd be a slight delay, but you could have a conversation with someone if you were, you know, inaudible, or however that's, however you would call that. So, all right. So we have successfully done Wavenet. We are wielding Wavenet at our behest, and it feels good. Let us move on to translation. So this is where things get cool, And also Ming, this is where I wanted you, because I am a unilingual individual for the most part. I know a little Spanish. I know enough Spanish to look ignorant. But I know you know Thai. So we are going to speak Thai with you. So one of the things that I set up in this command line utility was, if at any point a user types the keyword language : then this program knows to look for the following word, which is going to be like just the English word for the language that you want to toggle to. So like if I did language : Russian, it knows to not transcribe that and to change the language to Russian, and then all sequential queries will be translated to Russian language and dictated in native Russian tongue. So there's a couple different things going on here, but the net effect is we can go ahead and target any language we want. So if I just wanted to say, my name is Tim, I live in Boston.
My name is Tim, I live in Boston.
Okay, so that's English, easy enough. Let's change the language to something more interesting. So I'm going to do Russian. So it just changed the language to Russian. You can see it validated that with the RU language code. And now I'll do the exact same sentence. So my name is Tim, I live in Boston.
Меня зовут Тим, я живу в Бостоне.
So if I'm on like some chat with some random person and I don't speak their language, I could literally toggle to their target language and begin asking them questions pretty seamlessly. So I'm going to go ahead and change the language to Thai and see if we can't quiz Ming over here. So we are now in Thai, and actually she taught me some Thai. So I know like hello I think is Sawadi, or I think Sawadi. Let me just double check that. Again, I know enough of other languages to look silly essentially. So all right, I think that was the gist of it. So here's something I'm going to do. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to ask you a question, Ming, in Thai, and I want you to answer in English. Either you can say it or you can put it in the chat. Does that sound good? So she's not going to know what I'm typing here. That's why I stopped sharing my screen. All right, so let's see here. I think you can. Yeah, mute yourself right now. All right, so let's put a question in here. You can hear me, right? All right, cool. So, all right, I'm gonna execute the command with the question here. So just listen, okay? Okay, did you hear that? Okay, so answer. Since you understand Thai, that was Thai. I don't even understand Thai, so I'm literally wielding a language I don't understand. This is how AI is incredibly cool sometimes. All right, so answer the question. Okay, so that's actually interesting. That's interesting because that wasn't actually what I asked. Oh wait, yes it is. Never mind. I thought I asked something else. Okay. All right, so you get 10 points for that because you got it right. All right. Let's do one more. maybe one that's a little bit more subtle. Let me see here. This is going to be more conversational. So, and again, she can't see my screen. All right. So I'm going to just listen, Ming, because I'm going to run it right now.
คุณมีแผนอย่างไรในสุดสัปดาห์นี้
Yeah. You can say it or type it up too.
But you can hear me?
No, you have to come off mute. So basically, I just typed an English command in here. The Google Translate API translated it to Thai, and then the Wavenet synthetic voice API took the Thai and read it in a very realistic Thai manner. And we were just doing a little test to see since Ming knows Thai, we're going to do a little test just to prove that you can converse using this technology without having any knowledge about the languages themselves. So, all right, so what did I ask on the second question? I said, what are your plans for this weekend? And our reply was just going to work and relax, and that you can't hear me. But that's just separate. That's user error, so I'm blaming technology for that. All right, so you're 2 out of 2. So another 10 points for that one. Nice job. All right, so yeah, that's the gist of this program. I will throw the repo up on GitHub, and maybe we can play around with a couple other languages. It's not perfect. It's very good, I will say. Like, here, let's go back to English just so we can better audit. What I like about Wavenet is it doesn't need to be perfect. You can throw misspellings in there. Now it kind of you get mixed results when you do that, but it doesn't totally choke when you do that. So say I did test 1, 2, 3. That's technically not even a word.
Test 123.
But it kind of interpreted it. And then say I heard that and I was like, well, that's not quite what I wanted. I can do test 1 space 2 space 3.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Right? And I think it also interprets punctuation. So for instance, let's do so let's listen to this.
I am unsure. I will find out.
Now let's do ... I will find out! !
I am unsure. I will find out.
So that actually wasn't as dramatic as I thought it was going to be. But the point is, the model's pretty fluid. So for instance, if you're doing what I was talking about with taking audiobooks or taking long PDF files or text files and turning them into kind of your own private audiobooks, it works really well. It works when you have characters in there that don't make sense, or images, or line breaks and stuff like that. You really don't have to clean up the data. It tends to work pretty well with data that seems like it would be problematic for other systems. Usually you have to go through a whole data imputation process and sanitization and stuff like that. So that is really unnecessary when you're doing this sort of stuff. All right, so let's just hit up a couple other languages, and I will point to... What was that? Huh? Oh, Japanese. Okay.
Japanese.
Got it. All right, Japanese and Chinese. Let's do that. Let us see here. So, Wavenet doesn't support every languages, but it is up to 32 languages right now. Like the translation API, I think supports short of 100, but like say you can take the text, I will find out, and say you can translate the alphabetical characters into their other language equivalent, that still doesn't guarantee that you can read it. Like there's a whole other component of being able to read it, and vice versa. Like say I were to take a Spanish word like mañana, right? If I were to instruct Wavenet to read this word as English, actually I'll just do that.
Mañana.
All right, so it's smart enough to know how to pronounce that. But the point is, if in many cases it'll do manana, because it doesn't know accent, intonation, things like that, native to a particular language. It's only when you say this word plus Spanish, the Spanish classifier, does it know how to actually properly pronounce that. So, a couple different things going on here to make this all work. But let's go ahead and toggle over to another language of interest, Chinese. And I don't know if this is Mandarin or Cantonese. This is, I would imagine, Mandarin. Let's do... Well, I guess this will answer the question. If we do hello, I believe should be ni hao.
Ni hao.
Ni hao. Ni hao ma. Ni hao ma. I was always stupefied by, apparently ma has like 4 different meanings in Chinese, and it's all subtle about how you hold the A or something. And they're like vastly different. So, what's that?
Nothing. I just add in opinion. It's like which is word if you like different fish.
Yeah, exactly. Like ma. Yeah. Yep. I don't know the differences. I believe one means mother.
Ma, yeah.
One means horse.
And ma,
And then the other must mean like part of you, right? Hello. Ni hao ma. You.
ni is mean you. Ni is mean you.
Oh, okay. All right, let's do a more complex sentence here. So let's do, my name is Tim and I am writing a computer program in order to bring to life sentient beings who should not be. That sounds like a fake sentence. All right, anyways, we're going with it.
我的名字是蒂姆，我正在编写一个计算机程序，以便让不应该存在的有情众生复活。
Like when I hear that, and again, I don't have the acquired ear, but when I hear that, it sounds like a man speaking Chinese. And that's what's so...
Do it slower or is it like or it should be
Can I do it slower? Yeah. Good call. You think it's too fast?
yeah, because usually they don't speak that fast.
All right. So I think you're actually right about that. So speaking rate, we're at 1.05. So I think 1 is like neutral, like out of the box default, and I tacked on a little bit more. Let's do, I don't know, .95. All right, so in order to get to that to work, I'm going to have to save the file, and I'm going to kill this and rerun, and that should work. So we should notice the dictation slowing down a little bit. So my name is Tim, and I am writing a program.
My name is Tim and I am writing a program.
So I noticed it. It is a little slower. I noticed it. I was more like, I had this set up for my audiobooks, which I like to speed up a little bit just to save time. But yeah, to your point, it may be less lifelike to go so fast. Let's try Japanese. So I'm just going to do language, Japanese, and let's do, my name is Tim and I want to visit the island of Japan, which is true.
私の名前はティムです。日本の島に行きたいです。
So, yeah, I don't have an acquired ear to discern how good or bad that was, but I mean, I don't know, it seemed passable to me. And yeah, so it's just cool to be able to pivot from language to language seamlessly. I mean, we have 32 different languages at our command here, and if someone's in front of me and they only speak Telugu or, you know, Dutch, I could communicate with them unidirectionally. And that's actually interesting. It would be cool to make a project that could then interpret their responses to me, which actually I did that. I created an Alexa skill that you could just speak into and it would translate it. It was kind of clumsy, but it did get the job done. So yeah, if I could combine that with this program, then you would be conversing bidirectionally with foreigners. That'd be pretty cool. And then just real quick, just to reiterate what we are doing and how this is functioning on the back end, I'm just going to toggle over to something real quick on my side. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just don't want to gloss over the underlying technical components of this because those are pretty cool as well. So I will just give those a quick shout out and then we will conclude for the night. But yeah, I just want to reiterate, like, what is this program actually doing? Because let's take a look at the script I wrote. It's not, I mean, this entire program is a little over 100 lines of code. And the reason it's so concise is because we're not doing any of the heavy lifting. We're just interfacing with these APIs that Google has made available. And an API is a back-end endpoint that takes data, transforms it, analyzes it, crunches it, ETLs, expand, transform, load. It takes the data and it sends you back some sort of response. Now, on top of that is an idea called client libraries, which is how do you easily interface with the API given your programming runtime of choice. So for me, it's JavaScript, it's Node.js. And what Google does is they create a client library for every major runtime. So say, for instance, like I like coding in Python or, you know, whatever. I would use those client libraries to write these functions here. And so all I have to do is take the client libraries. There's one for each Google API, more or less. And we're utilizing 2 Google APIs. So I just import the 2 packages, the 2 Node.js packages, and these will give me access to the the methods that make sense to use, like translate or transcribe or synthesize, etc. And so once I have these packages defined, all I'm doing is tweaking some parameters here. So these are the parameters for Wavenet. You know, the voice gender, the Wavenet variant, the pitch, the speaking rate, audio file output. And then we're doing something similar for the actual translation itself. So for the translation itself, we are leveraging, where is it? Yeah, we're leveraging this object here called languages, and we're supplying the country code. And once you supply the country code and the text, the backend API takes care of everything. So we just marry those together. So the first step is it takes your input text, translates it to Russian, Japanese, Chinese, etc. And then it takes that translated text, sends it to Wavenet with the language that it knows to transcribe to, and then it sends back an audio file. And then I just use a little Node.js package to play that resulting audio file. And of course, you know, I turn this all into a command line utility because in my mind I was thinking about how you might, you know, want to supply phrases continually and, you know, pivot from language to language easily, not having to re-execute the script or modify the script itself. And so I structured it as a command line utility. So it just prompts you for a phrase, and at any time you can change the language by just adding a keyword, language, you know, Dutch.
Hello.
And then I could do language, German, and then I can do how are you doing?
Wie geht es Ihnen?
I thought it was Wie geht's dir? Wie geht's dir? Someone taught me that, but clearly they were not a reliable source. Yeah. Anyways, okay, so let's close this out with one more challenge for Ming. We're going to change the language to Thai. And again, we're not sharing the screen, so she cannot see what we're typing. But we're going to ask a question and then see if she can respond in kind. All right. All right, here it comes.
คุณชอบวิดีโอนี้หรือไม่
Oh God, technical glitch. I'm gonna flesh this one out a little bit. All right.
คุณสนุกกับการช่วยฉันทำวิดีโอนี้หรือไม่
She said yes. Success. All right. Yep. Thanks for everyone who joined. I hope this was informative, educational, mildly entertaining.